One of them wanted to be the security guy. He claimed he was a security guy.
Okay.
All right, welcome to Security Guy Radio. What's your name, sir?
My name is Chris Hugman.
And Chris, what do you do?
I am with System Surveyor. I'm a technical advisor there. Provide technical consulting on their tablet-based application for the iPad.
And what does System Surveyor do?
System Surveyor is a tablet-based application based on the Apple iPad right now. We use that to import floor plans and design systems, drag and drop functionality.
Drag and drop's important.
Very important.
Yeah. Is that kind of unique?
It is very unique.
All right.
Systems. It really is a alternate to CAD drawings or Visio.
I was going to say, you get them from CAD. That's where you might get the client's drawings from CAD into drag and drop CAD. That's a big deal because CAD's not easy.
No, CAD's not easy.
Right.
And it takes a specialized skill.
Right.
And so we'll pull in a PDF floor plan, for example, or if a lot of times the client doesn't have it, or all you have is a fire escape map.
That's right, from 1910.
Exactly, next to the elevator. So you snap that, and you can import that right away, and now you can start drag and drop a component there, and then you can select the component, define characteristics. There's a pre-definition there if you want a wide dynamic camera, or if you want high definition 1080p versus 720p. You can specify all that. It prompts you for those things, and then you take a photo, and it associates that with that one element, so that you're not using your camera phone and you've got 50 pictures on your camera phone, and now you go back to the office.
Well, that's it, and you got to edit it, and you got to put it in a paper. Yeah, that's difficult. That's very good.
And you can also annotate to those photos. So when you give to your installer, you say, not only do I want a camera in this location, but I want it exactly right there on that ceiling tile.
Now, we had a guy I interviewed last year at ASIS. I can't remember his name. Not similar, but all along those lines. You know how you have maps and pictures up. He captured video from everything, turned the video into 3D maps.
Oh, nice.
Kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
And the challenge was that there's so much data. How can you possibly figure out what to do with it, right? I like this idea. So instead of having a CAD program that's going to cost you $100,000 a year, an average user that can work an iPad, gets the concept, can drag and drop maps, take some pictures, figure out what they're going to configure in the corner. They're going to say, hey, I want to install a camera in this location. Now, does it come out in the end product looking like what? A PowerPoint, or what's the end product look like? A video? What?
Well, no. The end product is the survey on the iPad, and we can also synchronize it up to the cloud. And there's an online cloud account, and what that allows us to do is a user can share it. Say a salesperson in the field can share it with their engineers back in the office, or maybe a corporate security manager can share it among their team members, a technician in the field. And so it's right there, interactive can change it on the fly.
So how do you make your money on it? Is it a lease? Is it a purchase for the software, or what's the?
It's a subscription.
Subscription, okay, monthly service.
Yeah. So there's a professional plan that's $39 a month, and then there's a team plan, which is where you can share things back and forth for up to 10 users. It's $349 a month.
Oh, okay.
So, there's a lot of value there in terms of time savings.
Oh, time is the issue, right? Because doing the stuff with the traditional CAD drawings, map, it takes a lot of time, and that's labor, right?
Right.
Who are the traditional users of this? Are they going to be the mid-level security guy? It's going to be the security director? Is it going to be the facility guy? Who's going to use it?
Yeah, it's going to be. We see it fitting in several places. One is a security director. And some of his staff, the security manager, the person managing the physical security system for the corporate entity or public sector client. But we've seen a lot of interest from system integrators also.
Oh, that's interesting. Integration is the big thing now.
Yeah.
Are you having trouble selling that? Because when I talk to people like you all the time, right?
Right.
And here's the sales problem. That's great, but I don't want your code touching my code, right? Because everybody's all concerned about, a GUI, graphic user interface. What if this happens? My data's getting corrupted. Are you having a challenge with that, or is that getting easier now?
Well, I think it's easier. I think more people understanding the cloud.
They get it now, right? Yeah.
They're understanding how these things work, and it is actually more secure our approach is more secure than what they're currently doing, which is typically a spreadsheet that they will email.
I know. I've seen that. I know still.
So how secure is that?
And by the way, they think spreadsheets are databases. That's the funny thing about, you know what
Right.
inside joke.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, and in this case, you can control who sees it and how long they see it and that
Right.
sort of thing. So you can retract the privileges of view and that sort of thing. So there's some of those features of it that I think are meaningful from a information security, because that's such a hot topic right now.
Right. Give me a description of a typical use. Let's say I came from Fox and Disney, the studio, right?
Right.
So how would I use that at the studio? Think of a studio as a small city, right? It's its own contained unit. How might I use that application in my security department?
So what you would do is you would create the system on the iPad. You'd pull in the floor plan, and you'd select where they all go, and you'd create a record of all of that, so that when a camera went down or camera 6 went down, you could immediately go out and select that camera on your iPad and know what model it is, what the serial number is, what the IP address is, when it was installed, who installed it, and all of those type of records that are normally stuffed in a drawer.
Exactly, and nobody can find them.
Or nobody can find
It's
them.
in storage, right?
Right. And if they're on a CAD drawing, they probably haven't been updated since it was installed a couple years ago.
That's right, and changed or repaired or whatever, yeah.
And if it was a camera added after the initial install,
right,
good luck with that. So, so it's not an operational system. A lot of people think, well, can I view a camera? It's not for operations.
No, there's other systems for that.
Many
this is
other
actually
systems.
Has a completely different value.
That's right.
But equal value to an operating system, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't operate your system unless you know what you have.
That's right. That's right.
And ironically, operating systems don't integrate. Now, is there a chance for something? Is there a chance for your product to integrate into an operating system? Could you create a graphic user interface and actually be part of an operating system so they have the data right there?
Well,
or
an
API platform, they call it, I think, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely on our roadmap. So we launched this application. We've been in development for a couple years, and we just launched it recently. Been very pleased with the response that we've seen. And so as we continue to develop the product, we're going to have an API, and we're going to have some other features I think that people will really like, as well as some third-party utilities, maybe from some of the other manufacturers in our industry that can tie into what we're doing.
Are you worried about hacking? That's a big thing nowadays. Everybody's worried about that. I say this. I say, you want to look at my checking account with nothing in it? Go ahead. I don't really care about that, right?
Right.
So I'm careful, and I change my passwords all the time, that kind of thing. But data, from a security point of view, if I was a bad guy and had access to your camera systems, what they were, what you had, I could manipulate things, right? So how does your platform keep itself secure?
Okay. Well, number one is that the data exchange between the iPad and the cloud is secure. It's encrypted, and so that's secure. And of course, we use encryption on our
128 keys,
128 plus.
All right.
SSL, AES, those types of things. But so that's the security measure of it.
You have two-way authentication?
So not today.
Okay, you're working on it? Got to have it.
Yeah.
It's a new thing. All right, just saying.
Well, speaking of security, I mean, if you go to most security managers and ask them what the password is on their IP cameras, everybody in the place knows one.
Did you hear about that guy in Russia? This is a few years ago. He knew and figured out that, Panasonic, not picking on Panasonic, but they shipped their camera with the default password of 999.
Right.
And he just wrote some code, went on the web, right? And he found any camera that had a default password, and he fed it into a website, and he's picking up baby monitors in people's houses, the corporate, and finally somebody came and shut him down. But people don't understand that a camera now is a computer, and you got to protect it, and a simple password is not going to cut it anymore. Do cameras have two-way authentication, like your Google, sends you a text that says, okay, now you can log in? They probably don't have two-way authentication, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So most people will leave a simple password or even a default password on systems because they can't remember it and they can't retrieve it on a global basis. If you have
can your system capture that?
It'll capture the password for each device.
Okay. Now,
you can make every one of them unique, and then be able to pull it up and have access and know how to log into each camera.
Is that bifurcated on your system, though? So, in other words, I'm the guard, I get the iPad, I'm walking around doing an inventory check. Would a single user then have access to every password, or if you're storing a password, you have a password to protect that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not explaining it right, but
it's a password. We do authenticate in order to gain access to the
whoever
password.
the user is, and so you'll know who's logging in and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and there's a log about who accessed the password. And here again, it's not embedded in a spreadsheet that gets proliferated.
Exactly.
Which is unfortunately commonly the case.
Well, this sounds like a great product. Other applications besides security?
We
Facilities?
are focused on the electronic security market. That's just where we started. And so we have had other industries, facilities industries, and on the IT side express an interest in what we're doing and adapting it for that. But right now we're focused on electronic security.
Well, if you start there, you're protecting a lot of other stuff. So it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Christopher, this has been a really interesting conversation.
Well, thank you so much.
You want to Skype into the show and do an hour someday?
I'd love to do that.
Just let me know what's going on. Thanks for coming on Security Guy Radio. Appreciate it.